All right, so we're gonna do air conditioning in this video. This is a vacuum pump. This is a pretty heavy duty vacuum pump. This is a 5 CFM vacuum pump. This is 1/2 horsepower. Pretty extreme, excellent for doing a vacuum on air conditioning. And even though, sure, I could just put a new valve in here, this is the problem. We have a bad Schrader valve right here, all right? It's hissing. That valve is bad, causing it to leak Freon. You can see the oil all over the place down here. That needs to be replaced. Once we replace that, it's important to vacuum the system. You want to watch these manifold gauges and try to get them between 20 and 30 right there. All right, that's where you want it to stay. You need to run that vacuum for 30 minutes to an hour, and it needs to hold that. All right, that's the thing. Once you shut this off, once you run it for about an hour, and then you shut it off once it's vacuumed out, shut it off, let it sit for another 30 minutes to an hour, and make sure this vacuum holds, because if the vacuum starts creeping back up to zero, you have a leak and you need to find it. So we're gonna hope that we don't have to do that today. But what we need to do is change this Schrader valve. And what we have here is a new one, and you can see it's got some red thread locker on it. All right, to do this, you could use the appropriate size wrench, which is the right way to do it. I like vice grips. So I attach my vice grips to the Schrader valve and then just pop. Now I already did it, so it's loose, so I kind of already cheated. I don't know how much pressure's in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the low side, we're gonna connect it, and we're gonna see what the vacuum gauge reads. I'm gonna make sure this is in the open position, because if it's closed, you're not gonna get very far. So that should be open. I would just kind of route this around and plug it on like that. And come over here, and there's nothing in here. This system is empty. It's got a tad bit left, and that's why it's hissing. See that? We just pulled the Schrader valve out and it didn't do anything. So you want to compare them. As you can see, these look pretty much identical, right? Perfect. So we're going to put that one to the side. We're just going to screw this one back in, being careful not to cross thread it. And we're going to take our trusty vice grips, which is the wrong tool for the job, but this doesn't need to be tight, so that should do it. We're going to come over here to our high side hose. We're going to route it through here. We're going to clip it onto this one just like so. And we want to make sure that both of these valves are in the open position, because if not, you're not going to get anything vacuumed out of here. So we've got lefty-loosey. Both of these valves are open. It's a matter of pushing this button. You should see some smoke come out of here. That's normal. I don't know if you can see it. You can hear it gurgling though. And if you take a look at our gauge, this is actually really good. We're sitting almost at 30. And I think there's some, I don't know, something about physics or something. You can never hit 30. But you want to be as close to that as possible. So you want to sit around 28. And then that's where we're sitting. We're sitting right around 28. So now what we have to do is basically just leave this sitting here for 30 minutes to an hour, and then we'll come back. All right, so I accidentally stopped recording when I was working on this, so I kind of missed a step. Basically, as long as these things show in an hour or so that it's holding vacuum, you should be good to pull your hoses off. Unfortunately, I don't have the best set of gauges. This manifold was an Amazon thing. So it looks like it's holding. Everything looks fine, but there's really only one way to know. Now, each one of these is 12 ounces, so I've got 24 ounces here, which is, what, 1.5 pounds. This system is supposed to hold 1.6 pounds, so this is 1.5 pounds. That is close enough. I don't need a gauge because I know exactly how much is in both of these. So we're going to screw this on. This is not how I normally do it when you're holding a camera. You know, you kind of got to make do. So screw this on real good. I usually shake the can up. This is going to go on to your low side. It's important. It won't fit on the high side anyway. So you plug this on to your low side, which is right here. All right, so for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to have to do a voiceover because the mic battery died and I was not aware of it. So what we are doing is we're leaving the cap off and we are not turning the engine on yet. I'm actually pressurizing the system from the can itself before we start the engine. This allows me to hear the system pressurized, to verify that we're not spewing anything out of the repair we just did. And once I am comfortable that we're not leaking anything and that the system is as pressurized as it's going to get from that little can, we will then start the engine, and then we can use the compressor clutch to suck up the Freon out of the can. So let's go start the vehicle right now. All right, we're going to fire this baby up. There we go. We're going to reach over to the AC. We're going to turn it on maximum air conditioning and recirculate. Now, as the Freon finds its way into the system, the compressor clutch will kick in, and I'm going to point at this right here. This is the compressor clutch, the part in front of the pulley that is not spinning, and there it goes. There is finally enough pressure to activate the switch and engage the clutch. So to help this along, I like to hold the can upside down and shake it up. I try really hard to make sure I get all the Freon out of the can because I don't want to spew it into the atmosphere. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a tree hugger or anything, but I do respect the environment, and I don't want to contribute to destroying it. So now that I know we're not leaking anything out of our repair, that Schrader valve, I put the cap back on it. We're just going to keep shaking this can and holding it above the rest of the system to assist in letting gravity do its job. And once I'm comfortable that the can is empty, which should be any second now. Yeah, so we're almost done. This part's kind of boring. But we are going to reach down and pull the hose off of the low pressure side. And we're going to be careful not to point it at our face. So if you guys are going to try this, make sure you keep this away from your face while you're doing it. I should probably be wearing gloves and eye protection, but that's just not my thing. I've been doing this over 30 years, and I'm still here, and I have all my fingers and toes and all that stuff. So now we're going to screw on the new can. And this time I'm going to go ahead and puncture the can before I install the hose. It doesn't really matter if you do this now or later. I'm going to leave the valve closed, obviously, until I get the connector on to the low side. Again, we're going to shake it up real good before we connect it. And here we go. We've attached it to the low side. Now we can open the valve. And this will be the final can that we're going to add to the system. You can go over to the compressor clutch now. You can see that it is running quite regularly, which is a really good sign. I know you can't hear it, but in this, in person, there were no funny noises. Sometimes your compressor clutch is going bad. You'll hear it making all kinds of horrible sounds. No such issue with this. This can is just about empty now. We're going to continue shaking it up, and then I can't help but to walk over to the interior and feel the air conditioning with my hand to verify that we've got ice cold air. And I wish you could have heard the excitement in my voice when I put my hand in front of these vents, because I am telling you, this air conditioning is ice cold. I mean, I was seriously impressed with the AC. We're walking into the garage to get one of my favorite old school thermometers right here. I love this thing. It's kind of like a thermometer that you check chicken or pork or something with, but this is used for AC. You just take this thing, shove it into the centermost vent, and then you just watch the temperature go down. I tend to close all the other vents to get a more accurate reading. Not that it probably makes much of a difference. This is me trying to make sure all the vents are closed. And the air blows out so strong in this thing that it tries to actually blow the thermometer out of the vent, if you can see that. Like, this thing pushes some serious air. And I'm going to try to get a little closer and give you guys a better visual of what the temperature actually is here in just a moment. But for now, we're going back over to the can. We're going to shake it up, pop it off, and there we go. So now we can discard that can. It's empty. We're done. Now we can start checking the quality of the air coming out of the vents. But first, I want to put that cap on. All right, good deal. Cap is on. It feels cold. Everything seems to be working the way it's supposed to. Compressor clutch is engaging and disengaging like it's supposed to. So now we can go read this gauge, and I am blown away, no pun intended, but that thing is reading about 38 degrees. I am talking ice cold air conditioning. And before I forget, I highly recommend you buy your refrigerant at Walmart. This is the Super Tex cheap stuff. You don't need the fancy stuff. Walmart stuff, this stuff is for less than $5 a can. You know, some of these other places will charge you $10, $15 for a can. It's Freon. I call that a win. Air conditioning is, at least for now, fixed. We'll have to make sure it doesn't stop working in the future, but it's a good sign. All right, here's something that should be pretty easy. Let's go ahead and replace the air filter. I don't know if it needs it or not, but I figure what the hell. And then we'll replace the cabin air filter. Then we're going to replace the headlights, and that's going to be a wrap for this video. Just a few screws that hold this massive intake box together. Looks like it's missing a screw down there anyway. This whole thing just lifts up. Filter actually doesn't look bad. I'm glad I'm replacing this with the K&N because this air box is totally crap, to be honest with you. It's seen better days. So I feel good about replacing it. The K&N will be much easier to work with. Not to mention it looks better. Now, changing the headlight bulbs on these is really easy. Some cars can be difficult, some can be easy. This one is easy. You just pull these clips right out of the top, set them in a safe place, and check this out. Voila, headlight assembly comes right out. So today we're only changing the low beams. I'm not overly concerned with the high beams. To do so, you just grab the headlight, give it a little twist. We have a blue headlight, just a straight up blue. In my state, these blue headlights are illegal. So I noticed that one of these was really bright and the other one was not. So I wanted to make the headlights match. I don't want to get pulled over, you know, if I don't have to, right? There's no reason to invite police into your life. This headlight is giving me a little bit more of a hard time. But either way, well, that's interesting. That headlight's different than... Very strange. So what we have here is a 9006. Let's see if this is the same one. Okay, this is also a 9006, but as you can see, we've got one white headlight, one blue headlight. You're just asking for trouble. So when you're installing bulbs, don't ever touch the glass. Touching the glass can actually make the bulbs explode. So, you know, again, doing this stuff one-handed can be a little difficult, but we'll get it done. Hold it by the back. Do not touch the glass. Try your best not to let the glass touch anything on its way into the housing. Find where it has a happy home. Get the little tabs lined up. It's difficult to do one-handed. Did I mention that? All right, so once you get your little tabs lined up back here, you just give it a push and a turn, and it's locked into place. And now you can take your connector, push it back on right there. We'll do better on the other side. I totally botched that for you guys. All right, let's try this one. All right, so don't let the glass touch anything. Get your tabs lined up. Give it a little twist. Take your connector, plug it in. And before you go through all the trouble of bolting your headlights back on, you should probably make sure the ones you just installed work properly first. Working. Good deal. That is a wrap for headlight install. All right, that's going to be a wrap for the video. We got the air conditioning fixed. We got the proper headlights installed. I'm happy. It's a small step in the right direction. I know we got a lot more to do to this truck. Don't worry, there's a lot more videos coming where we have some more involved work to get done. If you enjoyed the content, please give me a thumbs up. Like this video. Let me know that you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment below. I do my best to respond to all of you, but in the event that I miss one, I guarantee you I did read the comments. Sometimes I can't answer all of them when it gets a little bit overwhelming. So like the video, comment. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing right now. I would certainly appreciate it. Click that little bell icon so you know when a new video comes out. Stay tuned for the next one, guys. Stay safe out there, and I will catch you next time.